So while there have been some groundbreaking strides towards inclusivity in the beauty industry, ensuring that authentic representation of people with disabilities, the LGBTQIA plus community, and racial diversity remains a priority is crucial to its success in moving forward. For the customer, inclusivity is more than just a trend, it's a movement. And brands, both new and old, are finally offering up a seat at the table or creating new ones entirely. But in order for this movement to have a long-lasting impact, we need to ensure the conversation continues beyond a singled-out opportunity or a new revenue-boosting initiative. Inclusivity needs to be seen as standard practice, part of the business plan, and the very fabric of the brand from the people behind the scenes, the models who are in front of the campaigns. With the global beauty industry valued at $532 billion and set to exceed $800 billion by 2025, it's not surprising that a new crop of beauty brands and entrepreneurs are entering the market for their own slice of that billion-dollar pie and changing the status quo along the process. So keep listening to go beyond the filter and hear all about how these women are changing the game and welcoming a new inclusive space where everyone belongs. So with that being said, I am so excited to welcome our panelists, Rianne Silva, creator and CEO, Beauty Blender.
Hello.
Ty Beauchamp, host, producer, and co-founder, Brown Girl Jane. Mally Ronkel, founder, Mally Beauty and Mally and RuPaul at QVC. And Carmody, founder, Carmody Beauty. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Hello.
I'm happy to be here.
Hello.
This
It's
is
like
such an awesome,
isn't it?
It is.
It's great.
This is the melting pot right here, girl.
It sure is. Zoom reunion all around. So Mally, I'm actually going to start with you. In a world where diversity and inclusivity have been overused buzzwords, Mally Beauty is going beyond a wide product offering to truly understand the person behind the foundation. How are you ditching the unrealistic standards and redefining beauty at Mally? And how has your brand celebrated diversity over the years?
Well, first, let me start by saying that I'm 100 years old. I started as a celebrity makeup artist, I think at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So I have seen.
I think I was right there with you.
I think we were both. Yeah, we both had the pens. I remember, Rianne. But that's the thing. So we have seen it all. You know, between all of us here, we've really seen how much beauty has changed, and how much inclusivity is necessary. Okay. Again, as I've been so blessed to have an incredible career as a celebrity makeup artist, and my clients were everyone. So I was always able to kind of go in and experiment and witness all of these amazing shades of color, so all the way to ages, which has been an amazing thing. Now, I have really, you know, since I was a child, as the only non-white girl in my school, in my elementary school, I've always felt different. I've always felt a little left out. I've always felt a little bit like I was the weirdo. And my parents, I am a little weird, but my parents did instill in me the idea that what makes you different makes you beautiful. And I took that with me all the way through my career. And then 16 years ago, when we started Mally Beauty at QVC, that was the biggest message that I really wanted to share. You know, I have a very quick story, if I can share it, because it is something that has stuck with me my entire life. So when I was a little baby makeup artist, you know, we've all been in this beauty industry, and you always had to start somewhere. And I wanted to really like get in with, you know, the big kids, you know, the ones who are really doing their thing. Now, let me start by saying I've always been a drag queen. Like when I was 4, I think I had the same amount of makeup on as I do now. So I ended up getting this really, you know, great job. This is in the early 90s with a great hairdresser, a great photographer. I went in, I was like, this is my shot. I'm going to make it happen. And like I said, I've always worn a lot of makeup when, let's be frank, even when it wasn't very chic to wear a lot of makeup, you know? So I go in, I do this job, I do my makeup, I have the best time, you know, like all the women on this panel, I'm a lover. So, you know, we like to have a great time at our job. So I go in, I'm like, just for sure, I'm like, oh man, I killed it. They loved me. This is so awesome. I'm on my way to stardom. Here we go. And at the end of the shoot, the hairstylist, who was really lovely. But he said to me, God, you really killed it. Everybody loved your makeup. They loved your personality. But let me say this one thing, if you don't mind me giving you a little advice. And I was like, sure. You know, I want to know, help me. And he's like, everybody loved everything. He said, but this like thing you're doing. And he kind of like hand scans me. It's like the hair, the makeup, the lashes. He's like, they loved your work, but I have to be honest with you. Everyone was laughing at you. And I was like, what? And he said, if you really want to be included, you have to be like us. And from that moment on, I went home to Phil, who my husband, who's you all know very well now. And I told him, and I said, they told me that if I wanted to be in the group that I had to change. And he said, with all due respect, people, he said, those. And I was like, oh my God. But it's what we have to know. And it's a lesson that I learned. And anyway, long story short, I tried to change. It wasn't me. I decided if you're not going to love me for who I am, then I cannot allow myself to go out in this world. I got to spread my message. So that is the thing that Mally Beauty's always been about. And I think that that's really, for me, at the end of the day, how we can all go out there and really prove how much we deserve to be loved.
Absolutely. And sometimes it takes that fire, you know, to get you going to say like, no, I don't need to do that. And you can carve your own path, because maybe that path worked for him and what he was doing, but definitely not for you. That is for sure. So Rianne, I'm going to throw it to you. Obviously, I've had the pleasure of interviewing you and your daughter and heard your story, which is so inspiring. But I want to talk about Beauty Blender's philosophy and really about encouraging beauty inside and outside. You've really built a community where people feel supported and encouraged to be themselves. So tell us a little bit about that philosophy.
Oh, wow. So thank you for that. That's a great entree. So like Mally, I've been a celebrity makeup artist doing film and television for over almost 30 years now. And when I created Beauty Blender, I didn't realize what I was doing immediately at the time, because Beauty Blender was something I created on set because I had a challenge. But what I learned in this journey is that Beauty Blender, the tool itself, gives confidence to women of every shade range, every ethnicity, every economic demographic. And it became popular because it evened the playing field for women and for men too, for makeup users that are men and makeup artists that are men. And what I started thinking about was, wow, you know, if we can get into sync the way we see ourselves inside and create that illusion on the outside to be able to mirror how we feel, no matter what that means. So what I'm talking about is you might wake up one day and feel like you look really crappy, but when you can apply makeup with ease and be able to create an image and transform yourself so that you can mirror your inside or your outside. So sometimes the outside changes the way you feel on the inside. Sometimes you feel really great in the inside, but you're not looking perfect on the outside. I think that's one of the secrets of Beauty Blender, is that it allows everybody, it's a very democratic tool. It allows everybody to be able to mirror their best them, and without having to have 20 years of experience, like all of us here on this panel have so much experience doing makeup. And I think that is what I learned very early on, and what was something that stuck with me, because I saw the struggle as a makeup artist that women had and men had trying to emulate some of the looks of my clients. I department headed many, many music videos and many, many shows. And then when I got to Girlfriends, it was like 4 beautiful Black women all wanting to look like themselves, but just the better version of themselves. And Beauty Blender was the tool I created on that show. And I think it did exactly that. It makes you feel like a better version of yourself. So that has been kind of, it 100% been my mantra with every product I create moving forward. I create it through the lens of a professional makeup artist, but it has to work for every person. So that's what I did.
Amazing. So Ty, I want to go to you. You know, before you became a wellness entrepreneur, you were an editor where you made history at 17 Magazine's youngest and first African-American beauty and fitness director.
Thank
How
you.
did that how did that experience shape your career? And do you think the publishing industry is stepping up when it comes to representation?
Well, first, let me just say I am so excited to be here, especially with all of you, but with my sisters in beauty, Carm and Mally and Rianne, who I've known for too many years. I think actually Carm may have been one of my first professional makeup artists to ever do my face. I will never forget. In my apartment on 57th Street. So it's really just exciting to be here with all of you. You know, I will say that 17 was one of those incredible experiences. But if I even step back before making history as 17's first African American and youngest beauty director in history, I think that was in 2003 or 2004. I was 25 at the time. I remember back in the day, I don't know if this happens anymore because this is a long time ago, but when you went in for an editorship or a role, you literally had to do what would be almost a full-on magazine. You had to pitch and kind of put together on paper. There was no copy and paste. There was no all the other things. Like you would literally have to create a mini magazine. And when I pitched for this editorship at 17, what I pitched is I wanted the girls on the pages to reflect all beauty. I wanted it to be your beauty because as a Black girl growing up outside of Newark, New Jersey, when I read 17, I didn't see myself. So it was important for me then to say to young girls that I want to see you next to models. I want to see you next to celebrities because ultimately you are the celebrity of your own life. You are the star of your own life. And I wanted that to be championed and celebrated. And so I think those philosophies have ultimately shaped why I re-entered the beauty and wellness space here 20 years later, which is like, wow, where did 20 years go? But we won't get there. Not the Declaration of Independence, Mally. I am not owning that one. But definitely the Voters Act, I will own that one. I'm that old. But, you know, it has really shaped my appreciation and my co-founders' appreciation at Brown Girl Jane around the importance of making sure that everyone has access to celebrating, supporting, and living their full, most well, badass lives. And that's what we do at Brown Girl Jane. We are a wellness company that centers unapologetically. It's for everyone. We have all different types of consumers, but we unapologetically, as 3 Black women, center the health and the wellness of Black and brown women because we recognize that we weren't kind of engaged in this community before. And I think that goes to the importance of inclusivity. It goes to the importance of reflectivity, and it goes to the importance of recognizing that we all have a role to play and we all have a place in this space. So it's super exciting.
I love that. And I love that you guys all know each other too. I think it's just such a power and testament to the network that you develop on your way up the ranks now, you know, all of you being icons and legends. That's what we're going with, not old, icons and legends. I think it's just awesome that you guys have supported each other and have these backstories. So I think that's so cool. I feel very honored to be here. So Carmody, I'm going to go to you. You know, you began your career working on the famous faces of the original supermodels of the 90s. So what did those years teach you about beauty in the industry, and how much has it changed since then?
Oh my gosh, so much. Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm so honored to be a part of this summit, especially with my fellow powerhouse beauty gurus that I've known for decades. I mean, these girls know what they're talking about. So when I started in my career, especially in the 90s, working, you know, in fashion with supermodels, there just wasn't the availability of shades. The shade range was very, very limited. And so we were constantly custom blending colors. We can all attest to that, us makeup artists, and creating shades that were going to work for everyone because there just was such a lack of you know, products. And there was also, we were custom blending things to make things universal. A lot of times we'd be on a set and we're like, okay, the sun's going down, you got 5 minutes, you got to slap it on, and they switch a model. So there was ways in which we were creating universal shades. That we knew that we're going to work across the board. Well, forward slash all the way now into 2020, what we're seeing now is that inclusivity with brands, and it's growing and growing. And now we're creating many shades that everyone can be a part of. Universal shades that work on all people. Carmody Beauty is all about inclusivity. It always has been. I was able to take all those skills and apply it to everyday real women. And what was really exciting about that is all of us on this panel, we're like a museum. We're like going to the Met. There's watercolorists, there's oil painters, there's acrylic painters, there's sculptors, there's room for all of us. And everyone should have the option to choose what they want to represent themselves when it comes to beauty. And I think now in this time, we're doing that. And we're doing it with QVC, which is so exciting. They're giving us this incredible platform to really showcase all of our experience. 30 years, times that by how many people on this panel, can you imagine? And we're really going to be able to give it to those women who need it.
I love it. And also, for brands to not consider skin tone or gender when producing and marketing cosmetics, it's not just not inclusive, it's not good for business. So, Mally, how are consumers driving this multicultural change, and what does the future of the beauty industry look like?
Look, again, talking about the fact that I've always been a champion for inclusivity, again, wanting to really represent all people, all lifestyles, all genders. Being a mom now, we have three beautiful daughters. We have one of our daughters is a lesbian, and she's so fierce and so fabulous, and she loves just really expressing herself in crazy ways. I ain't gonna lie, people. Anyway, look at my Instagram. That's all I got to say. But this is the thing. That is something that I think we here in the beauty industry have to remember. Doing the collab with RuPaul, I can't even talk about it, because that was the game changer for me. And I have to give a huge shout out to QVC for allowing me to bring the most famous drag queen on the planet to the main stage of QVC. Now that's a big statement, and that has a lot to do with who QVC is, and talking about inclusivity and embracing all people, all genders, all shades. And realizing that at the end of the day, we are all one. We are all just humans who want to feel loved, who want to feel seen, who want to feel special, no matter who we love, what color we are, what size we are. That doesn't matter. So, being able to do that, it is absolutely the future. And anyone who is not jumping on board with that is going to get left behind, as they should. Because at the end of the day, if you feel loved, if you feel special, if you feel like you're represented, then you have, then you've won. And that's what this is all about.
Jacqueline, I just want to touch on something that Mally said, though, because I really do think the brands, it's not even just about catching up to do it now. The brands that are thinking about it first. Like, Mally, I can't even believe your brand launched 16 years ago. Rianne, to hear about, I remember, but to hear about Rianne's story and knowing Carm, and it's about being innovative in this space, because it's not even just about catching up to where we are now. It's like, what's next? What does the next iteration of inclusivity and community stand for? And what does it look like? And that's where, I think innovation comes in. And it's so important that brands not only catch up, but you start to think futuristically.
Yep.
Yeah, and also including it from the get-go. So how can we move beyond inclusivity as a topic of conversation to now an everyday practice that's ingrained in the DNA of every company from the beginning? Ty?
Well, I think it's just really knowing your consumers, and not just the consumers that you have today, but understanding the makeup of the world. When you think about even just here in America, the diversity that exists is 47% Black and brown people in the country. And so for brands not to respond and be thoughtful about that as you're creating and as you're engaging, it's not just about consumerism. It's about how do you engage meaningfully with audiences to serve their needs. That's our approach at Brown Girl Jane, especially, is recognizing we're here to serve the needs of the community. This is not about commerce first. It's like about solving a problem, solving an issue, supporting community. What does our tribe need and how can we support their needs? And that's why we developed the products we developed. If you need rest, we know you need rest. So let's get a product for that. If you want to glow, here's your glow product. But I think it's about centering and understanding what the community and the world needs and supporting that. And then also leading. As I said before, I think that, commercially, we have an opportunity to innovate. You want to meet people where they are, but you also want to help community and the world get to the next level.
Can I add to that, Ty?
Absolutely.
I just want to add that what we're doing right here today and what QVC is doing by letting us have this conversation is what needs to happen. We need to normalize the fact that, there are more than, come on girls, like 12 shades of foundation. There are more than 12 shades of human beings. And I think that the more we talk about it and the more we have these conversations, the more it will become normal, and it won't be a topic of, well, what do you think about this? It'll just be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, like, Rianne, even just to that point, I did my own makeup today and I've learned from some of the best, but obviously, I have 3 different shades, actually 4 different shades on my face right now.
Exactly. No, it's true. And especially women of color, whether you're brown or black, the sun impresses our skin differently, and we always need more than one color. And I think hitting on what Mally was talking about is so poignant, just knowing that we were in there mixing. I feel like I'm a mixologist, but all of these things, you could talk to cosmetic executives about, even as recent as 5 years ago. And it was more of a financial decision than it was an actual human decision. And I'm so happy that now people are really in positions of power, understanding that it is a human decision. It is a human process now for us to think in terms of many shades and many different colors for all cosmetics.
And now you guys are the executives, so
yeah.
I love that, Rianne. If I could I love that you said that, and just talking about colors and being who we are, because yes, even beyond shade range, right? Because all of us on this screen are all completely different colors, and Ty has on 4 different foundations, of course, because she's that extra. But that's the thing. It's also about expression of yourself. And again, being a mom of 3 little girls and watching how they are creating themselves. And in this day and age, it ain't just about foundation shade, guys. It is about literally creating and expressing in ways that she came out of the room the other day and she was a cat. And I was like, what's going on here? And she's like, this is how I'm going to school. And I said, okay. You
know what I'm really excited about too, ladies? I don't know if you are, but for many years, my career not only, was obvious, some of the most beautiful women in the world, but I also worked with some of the most powerful and recognizable men in the world. And what I love about what's going on now, and where I think inclusivity is actually headed, is the normalization of straight men wanting to do whatever they can do cosmetically to make themselves feel good, because there's such a stigma in this masculine testosterone world that we're in, that you don't wear makeup, or you don't want to correct a flaw, or you don't want to blend in something to just make yourself look fresh and still masculine, but just a better version of yourself. And where I see inclusivity as a buzzword going is impressing upon straight men the importance and the availability of being able to correct whatever they feel needs to be corrected in themselves without criticism. I feel like it's something for literally everybody.
Yes. Absolutely. So you guys are all successful in your own right. You are entrepreneurs, you're makeup artists, you are running around, you're moms, you're all these different things. Let's pull back the filter for a second. What is it really like to be an entrepreneur, and what traits do you think you need to succeed in the beauty industry today? Ty, I'll throw it to you first.
Ooh, entrepreneurship is something I love. I've been an entrepreneur for 14 years, actually. So before I started Brown Girl Jane, um, I've had to talk myself into it every single day as much as I love it because it's not nearly as glamorous as it looks. I think some of the traits that it takes includes being resilient. You have to be an excellent multitasker. You have to know when to ask for help, know what you know, but know what you don't know as well. I think part of the challenge as entrepreneurs is that we think that we have all the answers because we're building our businesses. But when you don't know, say you don't know and enlist support. One of the things that excited me about Brown Girl Jane was actually not being a solopreneur. I have been a solopreneur for 14 years. And then I was like, I want partnership. And I want partnership that I don't want to say is equal because I don't know if anything always flows that way. But where there was really an ability for me to lean on Nia and Malika in our tribe to actually get it done with purpose and with vision. So I would definitely say being resilient. I would say being clear about vision, but not being afraid to pivot in that and knowing what you know and then knowing what you don't know and enlisting support.
That part, that part,
Absolutely.
that part is so
Louder
important.
People in the back, people.
Being very clear about what you don't know and
Yes.
not being afraid to ask someone who's an
That's
expert in whatever that is.
That's right.
It's
And
been
Carmody-
a journey.
Oh, and it always is. It always is. So, Carmody, in your book, Get Positively Beautiful, you talked a little bit about how you didn't feel pretty as a younger girl. I want to talk about building your confidence over the years as an entrepreneur and, you know, how you were able to hone that skill and trait in order to succeed.
Well, there's a few things. First of all, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, you have to be okay with failure. Failure is the biggest and largest education in the world because when you fail, you see what you did wrong, you take that experience, and then you're more powerful on the other side. I've had plenty of failures. I mean, this is my third time at the rodeo with this brand, and finally I got it right. And the reason is because I finally trusted my instincts. I stopped being afraid. I stopped listening to other people when it went against what my philosophy was. And I surrounded myself with people that came at me with creative ideas, good and bad, but all had the same agenda and took extreme ownership. That's another thing. You have to surround yourself with people that share the dream, share the vision, have extreme ownership. And it's not about money. It's about changing society and how women feel about themselves. So that's how I view entrepreneurship. Now, in my books, I mean, Jesus, many times in a couple of my books, I showcased myself as a tween because I was not what I look like now. I was an awkward tween. I grew up in Southern California, much heavier than all of my fellow students. I was bullied relentlessly, teased, made fun of. And luckily for me, I had an incredible family that taught me that it doesn't matter what you look like, it's who you are. And I got into the beauty space because my mother was a painter and she did watercolor, which is funny because now I do the watercolor approach to beauty with Carmody Beauty. And there were a few things, tools that I started to use that really helped me overcome those insecurities and build up my self-confidence that I wanted to give back to women. And listen, every one of us can say, oh, it's about feeling self-confident. Well, if you don't have the tools, how do you get there? But it's just like learning a language or building a muscle or learning how to crochet. You got to have tools. So I created what I like to call soul beauty, which is what I try to teach women. And there's 5 steps to soul beauty. The first one is mirror mantras. Because every day, most women look in the mirror and they're like, I look so old, or look at the dark circles under my eyes, or I don't have the right nose. You got to stop that negative commentary in your head. It's doing you no justice. So what I like to do is mirror mantras where you look in the mirror and say something positive to yourself. And if you can't do it, put a sticky note on it, plug it into your smartphone so you get a message every day like, hey, gorgeous, you got a beautiful smile. Pretty soon, you're going to retrain your brain and start thinking positively. The second thing is let go. Most of us have our insecurities based from childhood because somebody on a school playground said you have a big forehead or a fat face or whatever. Let it go. I mean, you're a grown woman. It's time to serve yourself. So you got to let go of all that, where it came from. The third thing is feature focus. Look at yourself and decide, what is it that I love about myself? Is it my eyes? Is it my cheekbones? Is it my skin? And then use makeup to celebrate that. The fourth thing is practicing the ancient ritual of self-beautification. Taking just 5 minutes every day to make yourself look the very best is important, because when women pamper themselves, it releases endorphins and dopamine in the brain. So it makes us feel good. So when you look good, you feel good. We've heard that before. And the fifth tool is what I like to call practicing contagious compliments. If you see something, say something. If you're at the checkout counter and the girl behind the counter is got beautiful hair or a great smile, let her know. Because you don't know what kind of day she's had. You don't know what she's going through. But by giving her a compliment, it makes her feel good. It makes you feel good. And chances are she's going to go on and spread it. So those are the 5 tools that I like to give to people.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that so much.
I'm like, I need that to-do list.
Go, Carmen D, go.
Look at Melly.
Like, should we start a compliment circle? No,
yes. I love
it works.
I will start with Rianne. Well, so when I interviewed you, something that really stuck with me was how you actually started the company and how you cold called, a sponge company, and we're trying to just say, like, I have this idea, I made this thing. And like, so I think persistence is definitely one of the traits that entrepreneurs need to have. So can you tell us a little bit about that story and some of the traits that you're using?
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Well, first of all, Beauty Blender is a category creator. And if anybody doesn't know what that means, is like, it was the first and only kind of tool in existence. So the challenge for me was, how do you make it? I was sitting in my trailer on the back lot of Paramount with my crew in the morning, having coffee and donuts and cutting little wedge sponges into teardrop shapes. And so I needed to figure out how to make them in bulk, because I'll back up, but I was the first makeup artist to department head a TV show called Girlfriends. I don't know if you guys know, it's out again, and I'm so excited. But that was the first show ever shot and broadcast in high def. And not to get too technical, but before that, everything was film. Everything had a ton of light. You could be a little bit sloppy with makeup, but it looked amazing because the light would blast everything out. Suddenly you saw everything. So I had to find a way to make this tool. I realized that my cutting these sponges worked. So now my challenge was, how do I get these made? This is not, a way to scale a business sitting there cutting sponges. And again, I'm a makeup artist. I'm first a makeup artist. I'm not a business person. So I was like, what am I going to do? Everywhere I would go, I would buy sponges at the local, drugstore, makeup store, wherever. And I would turn them over and I would look at who's making these sponges, who can help me do this. Mm-hmm. Girls, this was before Google. Okay. I was dialing 411 on my phone. So looking for a number.
There's still a phone book.
Yeah, there was still a phone book. So I noticed that there started to become a pattern. There was this one company in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania that kept popping up. So I called 911. I called the company. I explained what I was trying to make. And they were like, oh, honey, we hold 300 patents. And I'm sure we have something that, covers your idea. But thanks for calling. And again, the persistence, right? So my mind went to, okay, well, if you have 300 patents and you might have one like mine, why not look at it? I mean, why would that preclude you from looking at my product? Just sign my little NDA and I'll send it to you. And eventually I got a woman who to this day is still, I call her my makeup mama. She was the person that helped me get it made at her company, which at the time, the company she was working for was probably the biggest American manufacturer of sponge material. But for some reason, lightning bolt from God that day, put me in the right place, got her on the phone. She was like, I want to help you. Because I asked her, I was like, who makes your sponges? And she said, oh, well, I think engineers make them to fit into a compact or to fit into a box. Before Beauty Blender, a sponge was kind of like this complimentary product you would just get with whatever you were buying. They never told you how to use it, how to clean it, what to do with it, how to replace it. It was just like this thing. But if you were a makeup artist, you knew it was like one of the most important tools that you had. And as a matter of fact, you could, send your boyfriend or your son or anybody into your bathroom and ask them to, bring me my sponge, and they would know what it was. Unlike bring my angle brush for my eyebrows, they wouldn't know what that is, right? So I knew that I was onto something. But basically, that was how I created the product, and it was persistent. She ended up saying it was like the palm slap to her forehead. She, her name is Catherine Bailey. I love her to this day, and she helped me get the product made. But it was through persistence. And when you talk about entrepreneurship, I think being persistent is persistence and passion. If you have passion, then you must be persistent to see your product through to the end result of it being sold. So for me, it was just a matter of not taking no for an answer. I mean, I am tell me no. I'm the type of person that when someone says no, my ears perk up, because I'm like, oh, did you just say no to that? I'm your girl. I'm going to get it made.
I was gonna say, I have a feeling everyone is like that on this panel.
I'm pretty sure we all are, because that's part of the DNA of entrepreneurship. You have to have a tough skin. You have to be resilient, as what was said earlier. And you have to not take no for an answer. Too many times women in our culture traditionally have been raised to be polite. And right. I think that there is a way to be polite and to say, I'm sorry, I respectfully disagree with you.
That's right.
You are my no person. I will go to the next person until I get a yes. So
I love that. So looking back, all of you again have such amazing careers. Mally, I'll go to you for this one. You have all this knowledge, you have all this experience. What advice would you give yourself when you were first starting out?
Oof. Oh gosh. Well, number one, hands down, first and foremost, be authentically you every single time. And I think that that's, again, just like inclusivity and all that stuff, that word authentic is kind of thrown around all the time, right? It's like, okay, I got to be, just be you, just be you. It ain't as easy as it sounds. So yes, be authentically you and who you are, because I think we as women tend to doubt ourselves. We were raised, I mean, I don't think anyone on this panel was raised this way, but most women were raised to just agree and go ahead and serve. And that's what we're here to do. And we are here to serve, but we're here to serve each other, and we're here to serve ourselves. So you need to be who you are and trust your gut.
And I think we're always, asking for permission.
Yeah.
Don't ask for permission. Yeah. Do what you need to do.
For forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah, right.
But that's the thing. So I think, and again, I hate to keep going back to my girls, but I'm literally watching myself grow up. And I can see the little wheels turning in their heads. And, if there are a lot of young people watching now, I can see it, and I can see them second guessing themselves. And I can see them saying, well, are they going to like me if I do this? Or am I going to make a mistake? Number one, yes, Miss Thing, you're going to make a mistake. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. But if you do it from your gut and you do it from the space in which you live, and to Carmody, Mommy, you made me cry with that. That's my new thing, my new 5 steps. I just got them.
So easy.
Right? That's it. You can't lose if you trust your gut. That's and true. Be who you are. And you know what? It ain't, like I said, it's not always easy some days. And some days you got to chase the joy. You got to chase the positivity. You got to chase the happy, because it's not going to find you, right?
That's right.
And surround yourself. Like, all I want to do now is live with these 4 women. I want FaceTime every morning. Okay.
I love it.
Island.
Amazing. All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap with some rapid fire questions. So, Ty, I'm going to throw it to you first. Inclusivity is
the only way to be, and it's about reflectivity.
Love it. Mally?
It is necessary. Period.
Jan?
Mm-hmm.
More than a shade.
Yes. Carmody?
I think it's freedom for all women, regardless of size, shape, and age, to be able to freely express themselves with limited possibilities.
Mm.
I love it. Okay, I recover from failure by Mally.
Forgiving myself and finding grace.
Love that. Rianne.
Looking for the lesson.
Carmen D.
Same, looking for that lesson, and Phoenix rising.
Ty.
I recover from failure by daring to dream again and being willing to pivot.
Woo!
Yes. Pivoting, the word of 2020.
Yes,
Okay.
pivot.
Final question. I feel the most beautiful when, Rianne.
I feel the most beautiful when I'm wearing makeup.
Love it. Ty.
I feel most beautiful when I am surrounded by those I love.
Mally.
I feel the most beautiful when I know I've helped someone find a positive space and feel good about themselves. And am I allowed to say, after I had sex with my husband?
Woo! Hey, we'll find out. We'll find out.
Exactly.
Carmen D.
Well, I'm going to say all of what they said, plus when at this, especially this age, being single and childless, when I overcome a personal obstacle without regret or blame is when I feel the most beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it so much. You guys, this was such an incredible conversation. Thank you, QVC, and thank you so much, ladies, for your time. You guys are all, as I said, icons and legends in this space, and your work has really impacted beyond QVC, beyond the customers that you have. It really is impacting the world that we live in. So we so appreciate it, and thank you so much for being part of Inclusively You.
We love
Oh,
you. Love you
thank
guys.
you.
Love you guys. It was so good to see you guys.
I know you too.
Gosh, they're all so beautiful. And Jacqueline, can we have a round of applause for Jacqueline,
You
please?
did well.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, I could have kept going, but I was like, I gotta wrap this up. No, that was awesome.
For hours.
I know. You guys are all so amazing. Truly, it was so awesome having you. Thank you for being part of this.
I love you,
you.
goddesses.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for having me.